What's up, everyone? Let's talk about mindsets when it comes to martial arts training. So a lot of people know they put their kids into martial arts for like self-defense or for whatever. But as we get older, we'd have to decide what our training is going to be about. Some of these variables cover multiple areas, but some of them are kind of specific. And so we have, in Martial Arts Unlimited, we have 3 different core mindsets when it comes to training. And the first one is going to simply be martial arts. And what we mean by that is we mean something with tradition, something that has like a uniform, something that has a belt structure, something that might have like forms or katas, techniques that have been passed down from generation to generation, from instructor to student, and so on and so on. When it comes to something like Taekwondo, karate, or judo, something like that those have been passed down. Greek pancration has a long lineage, long history, but you don't hear about it a whole lot. That's actually one of the styles that I sought out Sensei Mike Martell, and we did a promotion a few years ago, and that's one of the ranks I got, but I wanted it because it's one of those, like it dates way back. I got that rank for the traditional aspect of it, not for its sport base and not for self-defense. It was like, hey, this is really cool. You know, the Spartans did this and all that, so I thought it'd be fun to have. So your first idea, your first mindset when you're approaching maybe martial arts for your own training would be traditional, or what we would call martial arts. The second type of training we're gonna have is gonna be what we call martial sports. And what I want you to think about when it comes to martial sports is I want you to think of something that has a point value. So you could take judo, which could be a traditional martial art, but it also has a sport element due to its point structure. Karate now has a point structure, like you can do competitions and go for points. You could do Taekwondo for points. But thinking of something like football, baseball, basketball, soccer, those traditional things that we would call sports, you also could tie into the world of martial arts. And maybe that's your goal. Maybe you're saying, hey, I want to win, the Pan Americans, or I want to win the Worlds, or I want to win the IBJJF competition. That's all point-based. And a lot of that thought process is going to be like, hey, what's worth more points? Is a takedown worth more points, or is a sweep worth more points? And so a lot of people will pull guard to go for the sweep because pulling guard isn't worth anything, but the sweep is worth 3, whereas a takedown is only worth 2. So it might not be super logical when it comes to street self-defense. Like, hey, I'm not going to pull guard in the middle of the blacktop or the parking lot, especially in the middle of summer here in South Carolina. But I also understand, like, my son lost his last tournament strictly because his opponent played strictly to the point game, and I am more of a self-defense based kind of instructor. So second version, martial sports. And for your third type of training, it's going to be strictly self-defense, or we even would say martial fighting. And that's where you don't care about points, you don't care about tradition, you're just learning this stuff for self-defense. Whether it's going to be, like street fighting, like, hey, I want to be like in the ultimate tough man thing. But if it has a rule set, I kind of tie it back into sports. But if you're just like, hey, I want to, kick them in the groin, gouge out their eyeballs, kind of enter the dojo type thing and master Ken, then that's going to be your martial fighting or your self-defense. And that's your third type. There are no disadvantages or advantages in any one of them. The idea is just to have the proper mindset when you either join the gym or you start your training, especially if you're an older person. I happen to have an older student right now. She just started kickboxing and she is here for self-defense. So I try to make sure I point out to her like, hey, this combination, this is how I would do this in self-defense versus a, point kickboxing competition or something like that. So you got to kind of gauge or view what the goal is of your different students, or even if you're the member, you could ask your coach or your professor or whatever, like, hey, I want to win this competition, so I care more about the sport aspect. Or, hey, I want to be able to survive, if I get attacked on the street, I need the self-defense aspect. Or, hey, I am in this for the long haul, and I just want to see, all there is to see in the world of martial arts. Someone like me, I'm a lifelong martial artist. I've been doing this since I was a kid. And so a lot of it has to do with tradition at this point. I haven't been in a whole lot of fights. I haven't been in a fight since I was in, I think, middle school. So the fighting aspect isn't really a big deal. Self-defense, of course, is always a big deal. Competition is for fun. So I don't emphasize my training for competition, but I do try to do some competitions just for the fun sake. Also, it's kind of a good test to see where things are sometimes, because when you're training with people in your own gym all the time, they might either be taking it easy on you or you might get really accustomed to their different concepts and how they do different moves. So I am trying to get it. So I say, hey, this other person doesn't know me. I'm going to fight this competition just so I can see what it's all about. So those are your 3 different mindsets: tradition, sports, and defense. Well, cool. You guys made it to the end of the video. You know what I want you guys to do? I'd love you guys to hit that like button if you like this video and you'd like to see more stuff like this, kind of theory and ideas and concepts. If you like the stuff you see on our channel, please do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. It's really a big favor to us and it really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And then last but not least, hit that bell icon so you know when all the videos are coming out from myself, Sifu Ed Stahl, Sensei Judo Josh, and anybody else I might have here on my channel, Coach Icy Mike, Sensei Seth, Professor Brad Scott, Professor Carlos Machado. You never know who's going to be here. You guys are awesome. You guys stay safe, keep training. This is Professor JD, and I'm out.